Bigger than any individual. No individual can take River State people for a ride and pocket us. It's not possible. Local government tenure has expired today. They should quietly go home. If they want to seek re-election in accordance with the Constitution, they should go and seek re-election. But there is no tenure elongation in the Constitution. Their position is tenure ban, and that tenure has expired. Let them not cause unnecessary problem for the people of the state. And I want to advise young people that, look, don't allow yourself to be used. Most of us, their children are not here. And their children have never come out to stand in front of any protest. They are not like Mandela and his children, or me and my children, or anybody. A lot of people, they've not done this. So nobody should be allowed. Most of them were with us. Today they are bigger than us. They have become very wealthy. They have become very powerful. But is that why you should submit yourself to be used by them?
Meanwhile, the River State Commissioner of Police, Olatunji Disu, is assuring the people of the state that he and his men will not allow the crisis around the tenure of local government chairmen in the state to lead to a breakdown of law and order. Mr. Disu, who was speaking to journalists at the police headquarters in Port Harcourt, says he expects the different political players to respect the rule of law and await the decision of the court on the matter.
We are aware of the crisis that has to do with the tenure of the local government chairman. We have gotten one court order or the other about it. The Court of Appeal has given an order and for everybody to exercise restraint till 20th of this month, just 3 days. So we expect everybody to respect it, not to take laws into their hands and allow peace to continue as it is. We are not taking it lightly. We are ready to go. Our officers are
them. And just to reiterate the question.
It's a gathering of royal fathers, clergymen, civil society organizations, heads and representatives of security agencies as the Kukah Centre hosts a dialogue in Kogi State.
Now is the time.
The project manager of the Kukah Centre kickstarts the event as he harps on the need for peaceful elections.
We are gathered here to say, how do we go on from now, even before the 2027 general elections? We are gathered here to strengthen peace-building initiatives in Kogi State.
An overview of the off-cycle election in Kogi State is then presented by the project consultant.
Let me give you a statistics from our findings. About 40% of the polling units observed across Kogi State highlighted or observed for low voter turnout in polling units.
Navigating pathways to promote peace and social integration in Kogi State is the focus of the panel discussion that followed.
Election that has come and gone.
Beyond the panel discussion, the Oyemege of Kotonkarfe shares his thoughts.
Social disharmony in Kogi State, which has translated into the kind of violent politics that we experience, is ethnicity.
From the research outcomes of the off-cycle elections in Imo, Bayelsa and Kogi states, the Kukah Centre believes there's room for improvement.
There was a lot of pre-filled sheets of ballot papers. There was also pockets of violence around some local governments in Kogi State. We also realized that there was a lot of vote buying that happened during the election day. And these are reports that were collated from our field officers. And what we did yesterday was to validate the findings from the field that the field officers reported.
Although strengthening social integration and peace initiative in Kogi State is the focus of the meeting, the Kukah Centre believes Nigerians can walk from polls to peace.
As the nation awaits the announcement of a new national minimum wage, the Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule says he will pay any amount agreed at the end of the day. The governor was speaking when he played host to the members of the State Executive Council who paid him Salah homage at his residence in Gudi Akwanga local government area. He revealed that he is already saving for the rainy day and is willing to pay the arrears from May, just like the federal government.
When the federal government decided that the effective date for minimum wage will be May, we in Nasarawa State decided that with or without the agreement by the committee, we sat down and say, take certain amount of money and save it towards that. In case it comes out, that's not our money. So we are taking it and we are saving that money. So we thought it will be ready before June so that we will be able also to handle it. So now in the month of June, it's not ready. And locally for us, based on what we have seen, we are even saving higher because it looks like we are going higher in the amount that they are asking. So we are saving higher. What we are going to do as executive is that the day they agreed that this is the minimum wage, and we also sign up the minimum wage, we want to be among the first states that will pay the arrears of the 2 months or 3 months or so. So it will show the seriousness. And the reason why it's easy for us to do that is because we have saved the money in an account that is not ours. So it's not our money. We have taken the money and kept it aside, and it is actually the money for staff. So that the moment it is agreed, we do that. That's the way we should plan, and that's what we have planned.
In security, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, says the Nigerian Army has been able to restore peace to troubled parts of the country in the last 1 year. Lieutenant General Lagbaja made the remark during a luncheon with wounded troops under the Joint Task Force Operation Hadinkai at the Maimalari Barracks in Maiduguri, the capital of Borno State. The Army Chief states that the Army lost soldiers and equipment through the ongoing operations in the country.
This year's Eid al-Kabir celebration coincides with the first anniversary of assumption of office of Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja as Nigeria's 27th Chief of Army Staff. The usual Eid al-Kabir celebration with wounded troops of the Joint Task Force Operations Hadinkai is modified this year to showcase the successes of the Nigerian Army in the counter-insurgency operations. The Army chiefs inspect some of the fighting equipment recovered from the terrorists in different operations carried out during the dry season. As a theater commander, Major General Waidi Shuaibu eulogizes the troops for their effort in the restoration of peace to the northeast region.
Sir, your presence here with us today is not only to mark the Eid al-Kabir celebrations, but also to mark the gradual winding down of dry season operations in the Northeast Theater of Operation. As it is well known, the operational cycle is divided into dry and wet season, with all available assets and platforms in the theater employed for dry season offensive phase.
Acknowledging the efforts of the troops across the country, Lieutenant General Lagbaja assures wounded troops that the Nigerian Army will look after their welfare while vowing to defeat insecurity.
As an army, it has been a year of unquantifiable sacrifice in blood and treasure, as we have lost gallant warriors and precious equipment to our ongoing fight against insurgency, terrorism, banditry, secessionist agitations, and oil-related crimes, amongst others.
Before leaving Maimalari Barracks, the Army Chief shares lunch with the wounded troops and the troops involved in the Northeast operation.
Indigents and residents of Umuchima, Mbe, and Oboko communities in Idiato South local government area of Imo State are for the 18th time calling on the state and federal governments to come to their aid before they go into extinction. The appeal follows a devastating gully and landslide that has ravaged the area and left many houses and families displaced. According to the villagers, livelihood and economic activities have been crippled, with major markets and businesses shut down as a result of the erosion. Our correspondent, Itokwe Kutei, reports.
What started like a little pothole in 2016 and 2017 on the stretch of the Olu-Idiato-Akokwa-Uga Federal Road has now turned into this big gully measuring about 30 feet. The dual-carriage federal highway was before now a major access road linking Imo to Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and states in the south-south region of the country. According to the villagers, over 20 houses have been submerged in the gully and many more are threatened if nothing is done quickly. This building belongs to a one-time Chief Judge of Kano State, 92 years old, retired Justice Canis Ubonu, who were received at this point a few months ago when the gully claimed several buildings after a downpour. But today, this house has been affected by the gully and inhabitants displaced. Several houses in the area are under lock and key as many have abandoned their homes to seek refuge in neighboring communities for fear of being submerged.
For now, the whole of the families of Unyenakas and Ubonu, the honor has the monarchies. Their houses have collapsed and they have been displaced. Some are living at Olu, others are living some other places.
The villagers say businesses are shutting down and the only surviving market in the area, Nkwo Market, which used to be the biggest and busiest at the time, serving the whole federal constituency, is now a shadow of itself, as some parts have caved in the gully.
The business has crumbled. Even there's nothing like business. If you look at this market now, the market is, serving the entire Olu zone. But they cannot come here again because there is no road to access the market again. They want government at all levels, especially the Ecological Fund Office, to, as a matter of urgency, come to their aid to prevent further disaster. However, it seems there is light at the end of the tunnel following disclosure by the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency in the state that the federal government, through the Ministry of Works, has made an approval for intervention works to begin on the road, and the contractor will soon be mobilized to begin rehabilitation works.
The Honorable Minister has graciously granted an award, or has actually awarded a project under the Federal Ministry of Works to fix the washout location and the adjoining carriageway.
To the people of these affected communities, this news from FEMA may be a ray of rekindled hope, but until the rehabilitation work on the road starts and ends, they won't sleep with their two eyes closed. Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, President Bola Tinubu to attend the inauguration of South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa for a second term in office. Please stay with us.
4.16 billion, that's according to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, is not only a key economic driver, but also a major source of employment. Over 80% of the country's ginger farmers are found in southern Kaduna State. Unfortunately, the blight disease that ravaged many ginger farms in 2023 greatly affected the yields. An estimated 10 billion naira was reportedly lost to the outbreak.
So it's not as if they have been forgotten.
Government's immediate response to the crisis was the setup of the National Ginger Epidemic Control Task Force, saddled with the responsibility of assisting farmers in transitioning to alternative crops in the 2024 farming season. The government also provided additional support to smallholder ginger farmers, worth over $1 billion.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture
farmers, we assure you that a more comprehensive support is on the way.
Besides the support, which the farmers say they appreciate, they are concerned about security on their farms.
Seriously, we are facing insecurity in this Kachia local government because most of the farmers, they want to go and farm. In the process of the farm, these kidnappers will come and kidnap them and go to the bush with them. So we are facing most of the challenges in Kachia local government. We need more securities so that they'll come and interfere in our local government to come and help us to see us through.
I want to call on this organization to help us with more especially the security. The security I know cannot go to our farms to secure us, but if only the government can do something, I know the people that are pushing us to see the downfall of what we're doing will come to an end one day.
According to the Raw Materials Research and Development Council of Nigeria, Nigeria's ginger production potential is put at 31 million metric tons per year. Demand is also put at 65 metric tons, leaving a supply-demand gap of 34 million metric tons. Many farmers believe strongly that the supply-demand gap can be narrowed with adequate support from the government.
Still ahead on the news at 10, data from the National Bureau of Statistics shows that revenue agencies experienced 13% increase in collection cost for the first quarter of 2024. And that's on Business News. Please join us again.
Welcome back. President Bola Tinubu today visited the Oba of Lagos, His Majesty Oba Rilwan Akiolu, in his palace as part of the president's activities while in Lagos for the Salah holidays. The president arrived at the palace accompanied by his aides and proceeded to have a private meeting with the monarch. Back at his residence, the president received a delegation of the National Assembly members led by the president of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio. The president took the chance to encourage Nigerians to understand the reforms embarked on by his administration. He also spoke against the negative attitude by some Nigerians and called on them to embrace the campaign to change the country's value system.
The need to change the rent-seeking minority to be more productive for this economy is very challenging. You still see smuggling and all of economic sabotage. Why should we not have the country that we embrace a value that charts our course
for the National Assembly to do so, to the leadership of the country. And by the grace of God, God has kept him alive to see 1 full year in office, and for all Nigerians to see the policy direction of his administration is people-centered, and that God helping, everything will materialize. That's all we did. And we normally do that in a joint leadership manner. And so both the House of Representatives and the Senate, the Speaker is still in Saudi Arabia, so represented by the Deputy Speaker, the House Leader, and of course I came also with the entire leadership, including the Majority Leader, the Senate Leader. And then we met with the President to pay homage to him.
The Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, has faulted the federal government for contemplating adding a new aircraft to the existing presidential fleet. Recently, the House of Representatives Committee on National Security and Intelligence asked the federal government to purchase new aircraft for President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima. The committee's recommendation was contained in a report released after it investigated the status of the aircraft in the presidential air fleet. Reacting to the development on his X handle, Mr. Obi said, quote, "At a time when our country is trending on the global media for facing its worst economic crisis marked by high inflation, a falling currency and widespread poverty, the government's plan to buy new presidential jets demonstrates extreme insensitivity to citizens' struggles." He goes on to say, "It is therefore time to stop this impunity, insensitivity and shamelessness and refocus on the needs of the people by prioritizing education, healthcare and lifting our citizens out of poverty instead of focusing on the interests of a few." The Nigeria LNG Limited has reaffirmed its commitment to delivering economic benefits through the Train 7 project on Bonny Island. Speaking at a reconvened session of the Senate and House of Representatives Joint Committee on Gas, officials of the company provided necessary information and clarifications to address issues raised by the committee. In a statement by its spokesperson, Andy Ode, the NLNG confirmed that the project, with a total contract sum of $4.3 billion, has reached an overall progress of 67% completion, achieving significant construction milestone of over 45 million man-hours without any lost time injury. The company notes that the project was already delivering on one of its benefits, with over 9,000 Nigerians working in the project on Bonny Island and numerous indirect jobs and businesses emerging and booming as a result of the construction. The NLNG emphasized that the Train 7 project is a strategic initiative that will support the diversification of the country's revenue sources, revenue generation during the energy transition, and aid the country in achieving a net zero future. It also noted that the project remained crucial for monetizing Nigeria's vast gas resources, estimated at over 200 trillion cubic feet of proven reserves, and it remains an inspiration to other gas development initiatives aimed at enhancing gas monetization and utilization in the country. The NLNG expressed its respect for the National Assembly and committed to collaborate with the legislature to transform Nigeria's energy landscape, calling on all stakeholders to support the preservation of an enabling environment for its successful completion and the attraction of more transformational projects to Nigeria. Business News is up next with Will Ibon. Will.
Thank you, Ayotunde. Now, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, Nigeria's Customs Service, NCS, and the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, have experienced a 131% increase in their cost of revenue collection for the first quarter of 2024. This analysis, based on the Federation Account Allocation Committee FAC Disbursements Report, published by the National Bureau of Statistics, shows that these agencies collectively received 214.29 billion naira in the first quarter of 2024, up from 92.85 billion naira in the same period last year. The FIRS and NUPRC deduct about 4% of the cost of revenue collection, while the NCS receives 7%. The cost of collection is usually deducted at a monthly FAC meeting before the federally collected revenues are shared with the 3 tiers of government and other statutory recipients. And the Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce, NBCC, has announced plans to embark on trade mission to the United Kingdom to attract foreign direct investment, FDI. A statement from the Chamber says the 45th trade mission, themed unveiling untapped trade opportunities across the UK and Nigeria, would hold on June the 24th to 28th in London. The President and Chairman of Council of NBCC, Ray Atterley, said that the theme was apt, coming at a time the economy of the country needed a rebirth, especially via influx of FDIs. He mentioned that the NBCC trade mission stands as a beacon of opportunity aimed at attracting person Paris. After 2 years, French stocks have taken a hit following President Macron's snap election, with bank shares particularly affected. Meanwhile, London shares are rebounding, showing renewed vigor. Bankers notes increased client interest, leading to more deals and rising share prices. The FTSE 100 have climbed 7% over the past year and added 5 points today, reaching 8,150. Currently, UK stocks are worth about $3.18 trillion, slightly more than France's $3.13 trillion. And that's all on business. It's back to Ayotunde for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Will. Millions of Muslim faithful from around the world visited the Holy Kaaba or visit the Holy Kaaba every year, either to perform the Umrah or the Hajj. Now, the black clothing of the Kaaba, which is worth $6 million and is hand-woven by over 200 experts, is replaced once every year. Our correspondent, Sadiq Ilyasu, who is covering this year's Hajj in Saudi Arabia, tells us more on the significance of this timeless tradition by the Muslim faithful.
The Kaaba, Muslims' holiest site, is believed to have been built by Abraham 5,000 years ago. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Today, millions of Muslims around the world face towards this direction for prayers and goes around the Kaaba amidst praises to their God. The kiswa, the black material used for the covering of the Kaaba, is made by over 200 skilled weavers. Weaving with gold lining, workers produce one each year to replace the old one.
It is embroidered with 120 kilograms of 21 karat gold thread and 100 kilograms of silver thread. Over 200 workers work here. We have machines that do a few things, but it is mostly handmade.
The Kaaba is now within a 400,000 square meter mosque, the Masjid al-Haram. The mosque also hosts the famous clock tower, the fourth tallest building in the world. It turns green to symbolize the time for prayer. The clock tower contains the Clock Tower Museum, which occupies the top 4 floors of the tower.
The Mecca clock inside consists of 2 main components. The King Abdullah Center for Crescent Observation and Astronomy, and then the museum, the Astronomy Museum. There's 2 main topics, the astronomy and the timekeeping. Those are the main subjects.
In the heart of Islam, the Masjid al-Haram stands as a timeless beacon of faith, unity, and devotion for Muslims across the world. Sadiq Ilyasu, Channels Television News.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has dissolved his 6-member war cabinet, a widely expected decision that follows the departure of centrist opposition leader Benny Gantz and his ally Gadi Eisenkot. But here's some news with other international news in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has dissolved his 6-member war cabinet, a widely expected decision that follows the departure of centrist opposition leader Benny Gantz and his ally Gadi Eisenkot. Israeli media reports that sensitive issues around the war with Hamas in Gaza will now be decided by a smaller forum. Since Mr. Gantz quit 8 days ago over what he said was the lack of strategy for the war, there have been calls from far-right ministers to take his place. The Greek Coast Guard has caused the deaths of dozens of migrants in the Mediterranean and over a 3-year period, witnesses say, including 9 who were deliberately thrown into the water. The 9 are among more than 40 people alleged to have died as a result of being forced out of Greek territorial waters or taken back out to sea after reaching Greek islands. The Greek Coast Guard said it strongly rejects all accusations of illegal activities. The Greek government has long been accused of forced returns, pushing people back towards Turkey, where they have crossed from, which is illegal under international law. Russian President Vladimir Putin will travel to North Korea on Tuesday, the Kremlin has confirmed, after months of speculation over the much-hyped visit. After Kim Jong-un's big green bulletproof train trundled around Russia's Far East last year, the North Korean leader invited Mr. Putin to visit him. That invitation was duly accepted. Over the past week, sources had hinted that the visit was imminent, and satellite images had also spied apparent preparations underway in North Korea. The Kremlin has described the event as a friendly state visit. 8 people have died and around 60 have been injured in a train crash in the eastern Indian state of West Bengal. The accident occurred when a goods train hit a stationary passenger train in the new Jalpaiguri area on Monday morning. Dramatic visuals from the accident site showed one wagon of the express train suspended in the air. Authorities say human error may have led to the crash and a detailed investigation will be held. India has one of the largest train networks in the world with millions of passengers using it daily, but a lot of the railway infrastructure needs to be improved or upgraded. Russian state media citing morning, the court service has reported that the trial of the detained US journalist Evan Gershkovich will be held behind closed doors. Russian officials have accused the Wall Street Journal reporter of collecting secret information from a Russian tank factory on behalf of the CIA. He denies the allegations. His trial will open on the 26th of June at a court in the city in the Urals, where he was arrested last March. Since his arrest, Mr. Gershkovich has been held in Moscow's high-security Lefortovo prison. The Wall Street Journal have dismissed the trial as a sham, while US officials said the charges had zero credibility. South Africa's former President Jacob Zuma has said his political party will join the opposition alliance in Parliament.
We are going to the International Court.
He said it would coordinate resistance to the governing coalition led by the African National Congress. Despite this, MK said it maintained that last month's elections were rigged and wanted the results annulled. Mr. Zuma's speech on Sunday was read by an MK spokesperson who said the ANC was no longer part of the solution. And the Royal Air Force has released cockpit footage filmed as its jets flew over central London to mark the King's official birthday on Saturday. Famous landmarks like the London Eye, Big Ben and Battersea Power Station can be seen in the video. It was King Charles III's second trooping the colour as monarch, a ceremony that takes place every year to mark the official birthday of the British sovereign. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks, Simon. All right, let's get the very latest from the world of sports, especially what went down in the Nigeria Premier Football League as it concerns Bayelsa United and some other interesting stories, particularly in the Euro 2024. Kelly Ekiga, over to you.
Many thanks indeed, Ayo. We begin with the Nigeria Premier Football League. Well, the league has charged Bayelsa United for failing to provide adequate security and effective crowd control in the matchday 37 game against 3SC at the Samson Siacha Stadium in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa State capital, on Sunday, June the 16th. The Yenagoa-based club also failed to restrict access by unauthorized persons to all restricted areas during the game, resulting in the assault of 3SC goalkeeper Okemetu Odia. Bayelsa United have been fined 3 million naira for their offences and must identify and prosecute the home fan who assaulted the 3SC goalkeeper, while the host will also pay the goalkeeper Odia a compensation of 250,000 naira. Well, let's head to the Euros now. Slovakia greatly held out for a shock 1-0 victory against Belgium earlier today after a defensive mixed-up gifted Ivan Shirans an early goal to get his country's Euros campaign off to a flying start against the third-ranked side in the world. Belgium pressed and pressed over again for an equalizer, with Romelu Lukaku in particular guilty of multiple missed chances. The striker also had 2 goals ruled out by VAR in the second half, and only a fine block on the line by David Hancock denied Johan Bakayoko a goal. We stay with the Euros. Romania has won at a major international tournament for the first time in 24 years earlier today, as well as the beat Ukraine 3-0 at the Euros, helped by 2 errors from goalkeeper Andrei Lunin. Captain Nicola Stansiu's magnificent long-range strike gave Romania, backed by the vast majority of the Munich crowd, a first-half lead in their Group E opener. Razvan Marin's shot from distance then skipped under Lunin again as Romania turned the screw with 2 goals before the hour. Denis Dracos tapping home the third. It was a disastrous start to the campaign for Ukraine. We must quickly regroup with games to follow against Slovakia and Belgium. Then, of course, this football player here gets attention next because his manager Roberto Martinez says Cristiano Ronaldo's experience could be vital at the tournament along with veteran centre-back Pepe. Portugal won the Euros in 2016 and are spearheaded by the 39-year-old super striker preparing to play at a record extending 6 Euros. Cristiano Ronaldo, the record men's international goal scorer with 130 strikes for his country, is also the all-time top scorer at the tournament with 14 goals.
Cristiano is in the national team in merit. Nobody gets into the national team just by having a name. Cristiano scored 51 goals in 50 games, consistency that he had in his club, in his league, and he scored 9 goals in our qualification round. So for us, he's a goal scorer. For us, he's someone that he can make that final move, someone that he can really stretch defenders, they can really open spaces. Obviously, over the years, Cristiano has changed his way of playing slightly, but I can only say that Cristiano's in the national team in merit, and probably the numbers are there to back that up.
Away from the Euros in tennis, Australia's Jordan Thompson caused an early offset at the Queen's Club tournament in London with a first-round win over 7th seed Holger Rune earlier today. Thompson came from a set down to beat Rune, semi-finalist at the Grand Court warm-up event for Wimbledon last year. 4-6, 7-6, 6-3 in a match lasting more than 2 hours. Rune was unhappy with the condition of the court after slipping several times on the damp grass.
No matter, fortunate, the ankle perhaps played its part. Oh, he's found a way through nicely. Rune on the board in the breaker. No matter, Thompson very much back in this match. Another tumble from Rune, and I wonder how he'll react to this one, because he's done it. One of the most impressive victories of his long career. All that experience.
And that's your Sports Tonight. I'm Kelly Egiga. Is back to Ayotunde.
Many thanks, Kelly. And the main news again. Youth in the 3 local government areas of Kalabari ethnic group today stormed the headquarters of their local government councils to protest against tenure extension for the council chairman, even as the Commissioner of Police in the state, Olatunji Disu, threatens to clamp down on anyone planning to foment trouble in the state. Also today, President Bola Tinubu visited the Oba of Lagos, His Royal Highness Oba Rilwan Akiolu, at his palace. And the president also played host to some senators from the National Assembly who paid him a Salah homage at his residence. And Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has dissolved his 6-member war cabinet following the departure of centrist opposition leader Benny Gantz and his ally Gedai Eisenkot. That's the news at 10 tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. From all of us here, it's good night and please stay safe.